Hey everyone. In the previous section, we had a look at Cordova SQLite and we saw how we can persist the data within the device. In section 5, we will be using the Ionic native camera API and we will take pictures. We will also be saving the pictures in the device. So let's get started. We'll start with installing the Ionic native camera plugin. So to install the dependencies, we can simply do Ionic Cordova plugin add Cordova plugin camera. And then we also need to install the Ionic native/camera package. So if we go to the Ionic documentation, you can see the instructions there as well. So we need to perform these two steps, install the plugin and then installing the package. Once we have done that, we need to use that in this way. So we can simply import the camera service in one of our components or one of our services, and then we will be using this camera service with this getPicture method. So once we get the picture out, we can then use it. So we're going to be using the data URL instead of file URI. So we will be getting a base64 string, which is data URL, and then we are going to be assigning that to show the image. So let's do that. The first thing we need to do is we need to create a service which will be responsible for taking pictures. So let's create that. So I'm going to quickly go and say Ionic G service core services picture. Now this will be the picture service and this will internally use the camera API. So once this is created, we're going to import the camera service into the providers of the app module. So let's do that. So I'm going to go to VS Code and here I'm going to go into app module, and inside in the providers array we are going to provide the camera. So we are going to say camera, and we are going to import this from the camera package. So let's do that quickly. We can do import from at Ionic native camera, and we can simply import the camera service here. So we need to provide this camera service here and we have to import it from the Ionic native camera ngx package. Now that we have imported this, we can simply provide the service in the providers. Now let's save this and proceed forward with the picture service. For the picture service, I'm going to go to the browser and then I'm going to copy this and we'll paste this in the picture service. So we can quickly go to the picture service. And here we're going to create a function named getPicture. This is going to be async, and inside I'm going to paste this, and then we can quickly do const image data equals await. Now we have to use the camera service, so we can quickly import that here, camera, and this will be imported from Ionic, so we can quickly import that. And then I'm just gonna do this, so we'll do await, and then I'm gonna remove this then here, so we are gonna use the async await syntax. So I'm gonna remove this. I'm also going to remove this from here, and then we are simply gonna use that here. So we are gonna say const base64 image, and let me tell you what we are doing here. So we are fetching the data from the camera service. So we will take the picture and then we'll get the data in the form of data URL. So I'm going to change that as well. So we will get the data URL of the image in string format, and then we are just making that a base64 image by concatenating with this, and then we finally just return the base64 image. So whoever is calling the function will finally get a string which will represent the image, and then that string can be used in the image source. So I'm going to wrap all of this in a try catch block so we can also cater errors. So I'm going to simply do try, then I'm going to paste this, and then I can simply do catch error. We're going to return null in this case, and we are also going to console.log the error that we'll have. So now that we have this function in place, we can simply use that. And to do that, we will go to the manage node component HTML, and below this text area, we will add one more item for taking the picture. So we can simply do ion item. We can put ion label inside. we're going to say image is the label, and then we'll be either using a thumbnail or the icon. So we can do ion thumbnail, and we are going to say we show this if some property in the component is true. So what we're going to do is that we're going to go to manage node component, and here we're going to add one more property called node image, and this is going to be of type string for now. So I'm going to see if this node image exists. So we'll say ngIf. If we have the node image, and we're going to give this a slot of end, so this thumbnail appears at the right of the item. Inside we're going to have an image, and we are going to bind the source attribute with the node image. Now if we don't have the node image, then we're going to use an ion icon. So we'll just use the camera icon. We're going to give this slot end as well, and then we are also going to say ngIf. So if we don't have the node image, then we're going to show this, and we're going to have the name of the icon as camera. Now whenever we click this item, we should be calling a method. So we're going to use the click handler, and we're going to say the function name should be take picture, and I'm going to just create that function or method inside. So we're going to say take picture, and here we're going to use the picture service. So we are going to quickly import that. We're going to say picture service, and we are going to say picture service. So we are importing the service that we created, and then we will just be making this async, and we are going to say const response equals, or we could simply say image URL or image string, and we can say await this dot picture service dot get picture. Now that we have done this, we can simply console.log out the image str, and then we are going to assign this dot node image to the image str. So now we have set everything correctly. The next thing is to basically test this out. So one important thing to know even before testing out is that this will break. And the reason this will break is that we are basically binding a variable to the source attribute, and with certain policies of Angular, which is cross-site scripting, this is not allowed because this URL can be unsafe. So we need to use DOM sanitizer, but I will show you why this would break and when this would break. So let's test now this on an actual device. So let's save this and go back to console. Right now we can see there is an error in the picture service. So let's fix that quickly. So if I go to picture service, the issue is that we are not providing camera options. So let's import that quickly from Ionic native / camera, and we should be done with the fix. So let's save this, and now let's try to see if everything works. So I'm going to go back to console. So I'm going to bring up my device, and now let's try if everything works. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to open the manage node component, and you can now see that we have this image and we have the icon on the right. So if I press this, you can see that it opens the camera. I can select an image, and then I can save this, and then it goes back and shows us the thumbnail. And if I click again, I can change the picture. So for instance, I'm going to take picture of this tag arrow. So now if I save this, you can see that it updates. But I'm going to show you one more thing. So if I try to open the camera and if I click back, you can see that it quickly reverted to the camera icon. And that happened because in the case of just going back from the camera without selecting anything, it basically goes to the error. So let's go to the code to understand that. So if I go to here, so you can see that we try to get the image data, but whenever we don't select an image, it goes here and it gets null. So we are returning null from here, and if I go to manage node component, you can see that we are assigning whatever we got to the node image. So in case of null, the node image is assigned the value null, and thus if we see here, if we have a falsy value assigned to node image, the icon will be showed, otherwise we will show the image.